Hello, Smart City Collective. I wanted to create this mini-sode to say, A, welcome back to the Smart City Podcast, B, where we've been for the past month, and C, a little bit about me. As always, I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed making it.
It's the Smart City Podcast, whoa, with Smart City experts, here we go. Connecting smart technology, both big and small. Smart cities are making life better for all. Big data, emerging trends, self-driving cars and more. The Smart City Podcast is what you're looking for.
So hi, welcome back to the Smart City Podcast. It's been way too long. So yes, we had to take a little break while I transitioned from full-time employment to self-employment. Unfortunately, I was unable to continue to pursue my passion in the smart city space while working for my previous employer. So I made the decision to graduate from that previous employer so I could become an independent entity in the smart city arena. A few things I want to do next. Obviously, the podcast is really important to me, so I'll be continuing to do that. So you'll see a lot of stuff coming up in April. Well, we're already in April when I'm recording this, but lots of stuff coming up after Easter. I've got some really great interviews. Some interviews from people from all different areas. You know, I've got world-traveling bloggers through to academics, through to people using blockchain as their basis for their company, startups. There's so much coming your way. The other thing that I'm going to do is focus on the Smart Cities Council Emerging Innovators. So as you've heard me mention, well, actually, you will hear me mention in upcoming episodes, we are a group of young people interested in smart cities, and we want to bring the voice of young professionals to the table when we're talking about smart cities. We believe we are just as entitled to an opinion. I don't like to use the word entitled, but we have an opinion. We have a voice and we have knowledge. We understand what we have to do in order to make a smart city successful, but also we're going to learn as well, just like everybody else. No one person has all the answers, but we're really keen on collaboration, on hearing people's opinions and using that to really focus on evidence-based decision making. And our whole purpose is to make a city more livable, or to make a place more livable, to make an area more livable. A lot of the episodes that are coming up are really focused on people, which sometimes is a forgotten aspect of smart cities. We are focusing a lot on the tech, but we need to think, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing it for the people. So, and not just saying that, but using real tools and examples of how the people are the focus of a smart city. So that's one of the things. And I'll also be looking at, as I mentioned, I want to be an independent entity. So looking at contracting to other companies or bigger companies that really want my services or need my services in the smart city space. So bringing that, not just young voice, but project focused voice, as well as tech focused voice, as well as expertise in engineering, project management, tying all those things together, relationship building and networking are two of my key, I don't want to say skills, but things that I really love to do. I love to network. I love to build relationships. And it's so important in the smart city space that we focus on these things. So yeah, that's what I'm planning to do next. It's going to be a really different time and challenging and exciting time ahead. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And as I mentioned, my previous employer, there's no bad blood there. I hope that I can go back there one day because there's so much potential, but it's not yet growing at the rate that I need it to sustain my ambition, I suppose, and to stimulate my brain to keep moving in that smart space. So I'm really excited about the podcast. As I mentioned, I've talked to some really excellent people. So a little bit about me, I guess. Who am I? I'm an engineer, and as you can tell, I'm very passionate about the smart city space. And this came from when I spent 3 months in South Korea, and I really didn't know much about smart cities before that time. I knew about technology and what people were doing with technology and that kind of thing, but the term smart cities was quite foreign to me. So I went over there for 3 months, looked at connected vehicles, autonomous vehicles, as well as a broader overarching smart cities arena. And I also looked at construction methodologies, innovative ways of doing things, that kind of thing. Went a lot of site visits and the like. So that was really exciting. So I came back from South Korea really, really keen to put all my newfound knowledge to work. And I did. I had a pretty good day job when I came back. I was given a really great opportunity. So I pursued that. I worked in Brisbane. I live in Toowoomba, so I travelled down to Brisbane to work down there and then continued to work in that space. What I guess I expected was I wanted to work more in that integration piece, not just one particular technology, but the whole smart cities integration. So I wasn't really getting that. So what I did was I just met with so many other people. I networked the shit out of everything. So I had coffees after coffees and met with some really, really awesome people. Got really excited about doing some more stuff in the smart city space. So one person that I met among many was Adam Beck. So that was at an Engineers Australia Smart City event in May in 2017. And I talked to Adam and I was really keen. He's the Executive Director of Smart Cities Council, Australia and New Zealand. And I wanted to know what I could do. How could I get more involved? So Adam had this conversation with a lot of young people, unbeknownst to me, but he was having the same conversation over and over again. And so what he did was he said, well, how about you guys talk to each other and see what you can come up with? And Adam had this idea of us creating our own kind of group or task force within Smart Cities Council. And so we did. It started quite organically. We just started talking, sending emails. At first, we just had people from Brisbane and Sydney, some in Melbourne, Perth. That was it, I think. And then we started growing a little bit to New Zealand, and now we've had conversation with people in Orlando. So it's growing and growing. So what we did before we started growing, we just got together and went, okay, what do we want to do? So we thought about a mission and a purpose, and we really just wanted to be a voice for the young people, so we could have that seat at the table and talk smart cities and be listened to and be involved in decision making, because we felt like traditionally that wasn't the case. You might have a token young person at an event or something there to do with technology or something like that, but we weren't really taken seriously as a seat or a decision maker, I guess. So we formed the Smart City Council Emerging Innovators, and I already had the idea about this podcast. So that was one thing that I pitched and said, hey, I'm going to do this podcast. What do you guys reckon? We'll distribute it through Smart City Council Emerging Innovators. And we thought it was really, they thought it was a good idea. So we did. And I really wanted to create this podcast to cut through that hype and really drill down into the real stuff in all different aspects of smart cities. So like I mentioned, people has been a really key theme, using technology as an enabler as well, and just certain technologies, lots of talk about electric and automated vehicles and that kind of thing. But yeah, it was really just to kind of go, okay, there's a lot of hype around, it's not just hype. There is real stuff to this, and not let the smart cities kind of just, get caught up and fly away in that hype. We want to bring a real conversation to the piece. And I also want to make it accessible for everybody to listen to. So I didn't want too much tech talk. I didn't want too much kind of high-level CEO talk either. I wanted stuff that people could listen to, people could take in, and they could take what they wanted and leave, So that's why I created the podcast. So then I wanted to kind of bring that podcast to the Smart City Council Emerging Innovators, but really I really wanted to network with people. As I mentioned before, I was having coffee after coffee, so, way too much caffeine. So I had to slow down on the caffeine and kind of go, okay, how can I talk to people without just having, conversation like that, we'll have coffee and it'll be great, and then we'll follow up a few things, but then that'll be the end. So I wanted the podcast to be able to talk to really cool people and give them a reason to come talk to me, I guess. And then I wanted to link people with other people. So, I'm going to talk to so many different types of people, and hopefully I can link people that are really interested in certain aspects. I don't know, like, let's say electric vehicles or something like that. Someone comes to me and says, hey, Zoe, who do you think I could talk to about electric vehicles? I'll go, oh, well, actually I interviewed Steve, and he's doing this, and I interviewed Angela, and she's doing this, and I interviewed Bob, and he's doing this. So, those three people, these are the things they're interested in. How about we link you up? So that's really what I wanted to do. And so I continued to do this while doing my day job as well. So as you can imagine, I was fairly busy. So now what I want to do is bring it back to focusing on the smart city space, focusing on the podcast, focusing on the projects that I want to really get involved in, that make people's lives better and make cities more efficient. I'm really interested in the boring technology, as in making government processes more efficient, so then we spend less time wasting brown money, as we call it, so money that's used for things that it doesn't have a product, it's just administration or clunky systems or that kind of thing. So let's stop wasting that money and really focus on streamlining processes, so then we can focus on the people. What do the people actually want? Once we've got our house in order, then we can really deliver, I suppose. So I'm really keen. I really enjoy creating systems, particularly when something's not going quite well. I really like getting in there and creating an easy to follow, an easy to use system, easy to follow process, and then seeing people use that and then go, wow, this works so much better, even and really taking that burden off them to come up with both the tech solution or the project solution, and also trying to manage the process as well. So I really enjoy managing the process or creating processes that people then can self-manage, I suppose. So yeah, that's me in a very small nutshell. You'll hear more about me later on. But yeah, I'm really excited about what's coming up next. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can always. So Zoe at the Smart City Podcast, which I think will be at the end of this episode anyway. Watch this space. Lots of things to come. Won't announce anything here because who knows, it might change. But I'm really excited. Thanks so much for listening. And I really look forward to talking to you soon.
It's the Smart City Podcast. Whoa!
Thanks so much for listening to the Smart City Podcast. Show notes for this episode and all other episodes can be found at thesmartcitypodcast.com. If you have any questions or comments for me or any of my guests, connect with me via email, Zoe at thesmartcitypodcast.com, or via the socials. I'm on Twitter and Facebook at SmartCityPod. As always, I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed making it.
Smart City Podcast is what you're looking for.